at 573-893-7477. Mark 4 minutes until airtime for this live show broadcast. Your next time cue will come with 3 minutes until airtime on the Georgia Southern Sports Network. Mark 3 minutes until airtime for this live show broadcast. Your next time cue will come with 2 minutes until airtime on the Georgia Southern Sports Network. Your next time cue will come with 2 minutes until airtime. Stations, if you encounter any technical issues related to this live show broadcast, please call our trouble hotline at 573-893-7477. Mark 2 minutes until airtime for this live show broadcast. Studio producers, when you hear, please start your archive recording. Your next time cue will come with 1 minute until airtime for today's live show broadcast on the Georgia Southern Sports Network. Stations, we are coming up on 1 minute until airtime. 1 minute in 5, 4, 3, 2, Mark. 1 minute, stations. 1 minute until airtime for this live show broadcast. Studios, when you hear, please start your archive recording. Coming up on 30 seconds until airtime, on my mark. Mark, 30 seconds. Your next and final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds. Have fun.
The following is a presentation of the Georgia Southern Sports Network. Powered by Learfield, this is Hail Southern Live on the Georgia Southern Sports Network.
Go to the pistol formation for the plus 47. There goes Jalen White again, up the numbers, 25, 20. Watch the young bull go again. Wings up, Eagle Nation. Touchdown, Georgia Southern.
Hail Southern Live is presented by Morris Bank. Bleed blue, bank blue. Morris Bank member FDIC. Also brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Today could be the day. Macon Occupational Medicine. The health of your business may depend on us. And by the Savannah Airport Commission with the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. Make sure to tweet your questions to @GS Sports Network. Now let's return live from Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro. Here's your host, the voice of the Eagles, Danny Reed.
Eagle Nation, it is great to see you again back one more time at Wild Wing Cafe for another edition of Hail Southern Live, presented by Morris Bank on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield. It was a great week for Georgia Southern athletics last week, capped off by Georgia Southern football's road victory, 28-23 in Norfolk against Old Dominion, improving the overall record for the blue and white to 5-3, 2-2 in conference play. It is a very packed East Division. There are 5 teams that are within one game of first. Of course, this is the bye week. It comes at the right time as the Eagles will get ready for South Alabama, coming up on November the 5th at Allen E. Paulson Stadium for Salute to Service, also Hall of Fame weekend. That's a 4 o'clock kick. We'll be on the air at 2 with the Georgia Southern Sports Network Cutwater Spirits Tailgate Show. It's going to be a basketball-centered show tonight with Coach Held and the rest of the staff out recruiting. We're going to visit with women's basketball head coach Anita Howard a little bit later on. Also, men's basketball head coach Burg will be on hand 2 weeks away from the start of the 2022 basketball season. We will cover a little bit of football and the rest of Georgia Southern athletics over this first segment. So if you do have any questions, you can tweet those to @GS Sports Network or send us a question or a comment here on the Facebook Live feed. But Eagle Nation, without further ado, please welcome in Director of Athletics Jared Benko to Hail Southern Live from Wild Wing. Good to see you, man. Absolutely. I thought you'd come in costume since we did the trick-or-treat over at the track and field facility tonight, but thankfully you just showed up as an athletic director.
Yeah, this scares enough people. I don't have to dress up, so.
I know that we're a week away from Halloween, but since we won't get to talk to you next Monday, what's your favorite Halloween costume of all time?
That's a tough one. I always kind of gravitated towards, like, sports teams and stuff. So one year I was Grant Hill. That was my favorite player growing up.
Really?
So I had a 33 Pistons jersey. That was probably my favorite attire growing up.
Why Grant Hill?
Well, I used to like Duke back in the day, so Duke basketball, and of course he had a prolific career there. So yeah, that's just my favorite guy growing up.
We mentioned how successful a week it was for Georgia Southern athletics, with women's golf winning the Southern, women's soccer picking up 2 more shutouts. They have 5 consecutive shutouts, second longest streak in school history. Volleyball with another sweep. They've won 4 in a row, and Eagle football going on the road for a conference victory. Great time to wear blue and white.
Man, the last 2 weekends have been super impressive, and you started, I actually had a joke with Coach Adams and Coach Willis today about who can go as long as possible for the consecutive win streak, and the person has to buy lunch, the first one to lose. But, no, I mean, listen, we said before, and you look at the fall, we're on track right now for one of the best falls of record across the department for all sports. You try in the cross-country with Coach Neville the first year with the top 5 every meet. So you're seeing the progress there. Obviously, basketball, excited about Coach Howard and Coach Burg's teams coming up. And then the spring, we're loaded. On the back end, obviously coming off last spring's record performance. So, man, it's a great time to be Eagle. It's always a great time to be Eagle, especially here lately.
Yeah, that's the important part about having a potential record-setting fall, is that we're off a spring that 3 teams went to postseason for the first time in the history of the athletic department.
No, I mean, it goes back to, listen, we're blessed in abundance. I mean, it starts with Dr. Marrero and the leadership, but really our coaches and student-athletes deserve all the credit. I've always said that if you get the right coaches in place, they're going to recruit student-athletes like themselves, and we got a great group of student-athletes. And not only that, Danny, I mean, the success they're having in the classroom, 308 GPA last year, which
awesome.
tied a school record. Yeah. And you start looking at, we talk about fundraising and success. All the metrics you look to evaluate an organization are on the way upward. So really excited about the fall, and really excited, obviously, about basketball, winter sports, and then, of course, spring sports.
When you've got 430 student-athletes across 17 sports at Georgia Southern, how do you try to build relationships with as many student-athletes as possible?
There's really no strategy. It's just be genuine. I mean, it's I'm terrible with names. I work really hard to try to remember names, but when you have 400 plus student athletes, a lot of it's you over time you get to know some of them more than others. But no, part of that is just being accessible and ultimately being visible. And listen, our coaches do a great job, leading our young men and women in the department. And any opportunity I have to stop by practice or games, I always try to take advantage of it.
Great weekend for Georgia Southern football in Norfolk, Virginia, picking up the 28-23 win over Old Dominion. Meaningful to get a conference road win, to be a game out of first in the East. But when you have a chance to travel specifically for football and see how other schools do things, what kind of items are you specifically looking at with operations and the like?
Well, everything. You actually can take it in a little bit more. At home, I usually go back home and rewatch the game when I get back because I miss a lot of plays and I want to watch every snap. And so a lot of times you're looking at everything from premium areas. You're looking at operationally where the team's coming in and out of, interaction, game management. But it's interesting because when you go up there, this past weekend, it's the first time I've been to Norfolk and been to Old Dominion. So it was kind of neat seeing how they do the premium areas. So, yeah, you're always kind of being a student, always trying to learn. But just, man, what a great win and getting back to the field of play. I thought it was really great just to show how multidimensional we are. I mean, obviously throwing for almost 600 yards a week prior, and then you run the ball for 50 times the next week. And it kind of reminded me going home, we were flying back on Saturday, and I remember a conversation I had with Coach Helton during the hiring process, and he said, listen, our offense is going to be so explosive where if you're going to load the box, we're going to throw it over you. And when you drop 7 or 8, we're going to run it down your throat. And it sounds great during the interview process, but obviously have credence, and they're showing that out to where the defense is going to have to choose their poison. So.
Yeah, I don't know how many teams in the country could say they throw it 64 times one week and then the very next week they run it 50 and be able to win both of those games.
No, and the credit goes to our student athletes and our coaches. I mean, part of that scheme is, man, it's a dangerous scheme to defend against. And, the other encouraging sign, too, defensively, we're getting better every game. And, you're starting to see some guys step up. And it's really exciting because now, we get back in Paulson, 3 of the last 4 games at home. And I feel like we've been road warriors the whole year. And so one of the things we're going to talk about here in a little bit, I'm sure, but we're going to work on a salute to service sellout. So we're going to be having a big push here the next week and a half for selling out Paulson for South Alabama for the military appreciation game. So that's going to be our focus here the next week and a half.
Having 3 of the last 4 at home would set up really well to not only try to get bowl eligible, only 1 more win is needed to accomplish that, but to potentially win the East Division for the first time since the East-West separation, but with South coming up on the 5th. And then you got the back-to-back home games against Marshall and Appalachian State on the 19th and the 26th. We know that promotionally those games are going to be packed. You've got Ag Day against Marshall. It'll be Senior Day and a blew out in the rivalry game against Appalachian State. But the one to focus on for this team after getting the rest and recuperation, a South Alabama squad that is much improved. This is their best team since they made the jump to the FBS. But to have Hall of Fame weekend with 7 new inductees to the Georgia Southern Athletics Hall of Fame, and also salute to service when you can tie that into possibly trying to go for a sellout. That's good stuff.
No, and the military, coming from a military family, it always is. Those are special games. Just personally, just growing up, seeing my dad in the Navy and other family members in the armed services. So that's always a special deal personally for me, and ultimately too, a chance to honor our men and women in uniform. It's always just such a humbling experience. It gives you a chance to thank them for their sacrifices and what they're doing for our great country. And when you go back to South Al, I mean, listen, Coach Womack's done a great job, and looking at our tickets and seeing that number of tickets available continue to dissipate. I think we have a chance to come close to selling it out, and then with the power of Paulson, anything can happen. So our young men have been so awesome this year of buying into Coach Helton and staff's vision, and they played through every snap and every down. And so obviously, the last 2 games at Paulson have been rocking, but I have full confidence it's going to be a louder and more intimidating place for teams to come in and play us.
This being the 4th home game of the season, the way that these all have set up, Morgan State was the opener, so you had the whole offseason. Then back-to-back road trips to get ready for Game 2. Back-to-back road trips to get ready for Game 3. The bye week gives you multiple weeks to get ready for your 4th home game. With the extra time from an operations standpoint, what does that give you a chance to examine to make the experience that much better?
Yeah, well, listen, you're always trying to get better. I think that's the one thing. You're seeing little tweaks, and maybe y'all that go to games or those that attend games have not seen them, but they're little tweaks we notice. And so you're always trying to make improvements game by game. And so the advantage this year is having a chance to digest the feedback from the fan surveys and then have a chance to go back to the drawing board, adjust as necessary, implement different controls in place or new initiatives. And so that's been a benefit. Now, obviously, we get to November. It's great. Listen, some people say, sometimes, as the stadium gets packed, does it cause, more challenges? And I argue, listen, that's a blessing to have a lot of people there. We'll work through the challenges that we have. But, no, our staff with Nick Skoll and, Chris Davis and the facilities and grounds crew do a great job. And so we're excited to welcome as many people into Paulson as we can in the last 3 games of the year.
Now, coming up, we do have the rest of the show dedicated towards basketball. Women's basketball will be up next with head coach Anita Howard off of 18 wins in 2021, best season since 2009. You've also got the men's team, which is going to have the most home games in 30 years. So it seems like the time is now for Eagle basketball to take another step towards the top of the Sun Belt.
No doubt. I mean, Coach Howard and staff did a great job last year. And the great thing that I enjoy in our personal relationships is to see how some of our young women have grown and just mature on and off the court. Her and her staff do a great job, and I'm excited because it's such a fun style of basketball to watch up and down the court, and so already got a couple games circled for this season. And then on the men's side, Coach Burg, we talked about having a chance all offseason to have the guys here. In a lot of ways, this is kind of like year number 2 for him, rebuilding the team during COVID. So I'm excited. The prospects of our men's and women's basketball program is just as high as any other program, and it's going to be a fun year to handle. Listen, I think last year at times I felt like I feel like in my head we didn't play as many games at home, and then you get into the season, you actually do the math. So this year it's going to be a lot of fun because we're going to have more home games. So
season tickets are available now for men's and women's basketball. 1-800-GSU-WINS to get yours, or you can visit gseagles.com/tickets. For the women, they start at Hanner Fieldhouse on November the 7th. They will be taking on Allen University. Georgia Southern men have their first 2 games on the road starting on the 8th of November at San Jose State, and then November the 10th at Santa Clara before coming back home to begin the home portion of their schedule. Jared, appreciate the thoughts on football and the rest of Georgia Southern athletics. Thank you for being here, and we will talk to you in a little bit.
Sounds good. I think Coach Howard gets the dress tonight for the best costume. I don't know. I don't see Coach Burg yet. We'll see. I bet you he's going to be in a.
He's working on his.
He's going to be in a blazer and khaki pants or something. So Coach Howard wins by default.
Thanks a lot, Jared.
All right, see you. Hail Southern.
Director of Athletics Jared Benko will have more from Hail Southern Live Wild Wing Cafe after this on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
You've trained for this all year. Endless hours of cardio, conditioning, and weights. And now you are ready. Ready to trek back to your seat from the concession stand. Through the lines, lost fans, and that mascot who wants you to do a little dancey dance. All without spilling a drop of your ice-cold Bud Light. Welcome back to football, sports fans.
You need the best players. You need to keep them safe. And if they do get injured, you need the best occupational medicine services available to make sure that they're back in the game for you and your business. This is Leonard Bell from Macon Occupational Medicine, and that's exactly what we've been doing for business and industries throughout Georgia since 1990. We outperform others by getting injured workers back to work quicker while maintaining the highest levels of customer satisfaction. The health of your business may depend on us. We're Macon Occupational Medicine.
Here's to the fans who show up for the game, finding their spot, staking their claim, towing the trailers, hauling the gear. A tradition of tailgating that happens each year. And here's to the truck they drive, the Ford F-150 truck. Power your tailgate like never before with an available ProPower onboard generator. For great offers, see your local Ford dealer today. Not all models, trims, or features may be available. Contact your dealer for more information.
Did you know that Yancey Rents is a Georgia-owned rental company serving Georgia since 1914? Yancey Rents has excavators, dozers, backhoe loaders, small dump trucks, water trucks, concrete saws, light towers, scissor lifts, and so much more. We've got a huge selection of equipment ready to be rented today. Call 844-YNC-RENT or check us out at yanceyrents.com. With 16 locations around the state and a new expanded lineup of equipment ready to be rented right now, Yancey Rents wants to be your preferred rental supplier in Georgia.
Eagle Nation, this is William Martin from Southern Exchange Company. We're proud to always bring you the best selection of Georgia Southern gear for game day and every day. Make sure to stop by and visit us at our store across from campus on Chandler Road or online at southernexchangecompany.com. Follow Southern Exchange on social media at SXC Statesboro for the latest gear in stock. Southern Exchange Company, the official merchandiser of Georgia Southern Athletics.
Optum Medical Center Tatnall, we know you're not yourself when even just one part of you is hurt. Optum Medical Center Tatnall in Reedsville provides Eagle Nation with the highest quality care in surgical, hospital, clinical, diagnostic, and therapeutic services. The physician-owned medical center has been named one of America's top 100 best hospitals for joint replacement and is a 5-star recipient for total hip replacement, total knee replacement, and spinal fusion surgery. For more information, visit OptumHealthSystem.com.
vision, new identity, same battle cry.
Man, what a great day to be an Eagle. Mercy!
It's time to GATA.
Gerald Green outside the hash. 10, 5, bye-bye. Jalen White, welcome the young bull all the way home. Thompson, what a tackle at the 10-yard line. How much fun is he to watch?
Listen to Eagles football all season on the Georgia Southern Sports Network from Learfield.
Another season of women's and men's college sports is underway. Follow your alma mater or favorite team in their pursuit of the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. Trophies will be awarded in June 2023 to the winning institutions in all competitive divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
Vickers finds Johnson, pump fake from the left elbow, drive to the Sunbelt logo, knocks it down for 2. Nice.
Back here from Wild Wing Cafe, Hail Southern Live continues on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield. Georgia Power is proud to be a partner with Eagle Athletics. Art Russell said our offense is called the Georgia Power Company, and now Georgia Power would like to help you save on your power bill. Visit georgiapower.com to learn more about becoming more energy efficient and saving with their handy energy efficiency tips. Appreciate Jared Benko coming on, talking about the big football victory from last Saturday in Norfolk against Old Dominion. All Eagle basketball for the rest of the way. If you have any comments tonight, feel free to submit those on Facebook Live. You can also send us a tweet at GS Sports Network. Mentioned already for Georgia Southern women's basketball, 18-10 last year, 8-6 in conference play, highest winning percentage in 20 years. Year 4, this regime, the sky's the limit. Please welcome in women's basketball head coach Anita Howard. Now, I was wondering if Jared would show up in costume. I knew Burg wouldn't show up in costume, but you have shown up in full costume. For the people that aren't here and are listening on the radio, what do you got going tonight?
Well, you can't see me, but I only move. I'm a scarecrow, so I only move once a year. When I do, is for the Hail Southern Live.
Now, was this your idea, or did someone put you up to the scarecrow?
A little bit of both. This is a costume I actually wore last year. So we had an event, of course, Jared Benko, Haley, and Morgan. They had a really huge trick-or-treat event on campus. And so I like to go all out for the kiddies. And so I was just going to do something simple, but you know I don't like anything simple. So I had to step it up a bit.
You guys have been out quite a bit in the community, doing some travel these last few weeks. Had a chance to spend some time in New Orleans for Conference Media Day with Taryn, which we'll talk about in a moment. But you had a chance to check out the Armstrong exhibit at the Hall of Fame at the Armstrong campus. You were in the dunk tank not too long ago. So you guys have been hitting the pavement the last little bit.
Yeah, as we get ready for basketball season, I'm not going to be able to be out as much. And so, leading up to the season, I always like to kind of get out, not just myself, but my staff and the players, to let people just get to know me off the court, but also just to get to know them. I love Eagle Nation, but sometimes during the season you're not able to meet them one-on-one. And so when you're out in the dunk tank or you're going downtown or you're doing community service, you're able to kind of meet them in a different setting. And so as much as we can get out before the season, which is now, we try to get out and do that.
I know how cool it had to be for you to go see the exhibit and go stand next to the cut net to honor the Peach Belt Conference Championship regular season and tournament from almost 20 years ago. How was that for you?
Yo, that was crazy, right? So first, it's going to sound weird, but the arena still smelled the same. I felt like I literally went back in time. I can remember going through the hallways where we came out in the locker room. Chad, of course, Jackson was down there. My SID was there when it happened, and he kind of walked me through it. And so it was just surreal to see, to be in that moment of knowing I played for Armstrong, and now I'm coaching for Georgia Southern, who, of course, is now we have the Armstrong campus.
That's right.
And so it goes to the players to know that their coach not only is coaching them to try to compete for a championship, but I was able to play for one as well.
18 victories last year. You beat Auburn in the opener. You were top 5 in the country in offensive rebounds and total rebounds. Why did that work so well, and how do you improve on that going into your 4th year?
Yeah, we're big on pace of play. So it's funny, when I first met Coach Helton, when he first got here, he talked about my offense. So I was wondering, why is this football coach, why does he even care about basketball? But now I see his pace of play resembles of what we're trying to do on the basketball court. But I think it's a fun and exciting brand of basketball. I think rebounding gives you more possessions. More possessions allow you to score more baskets. And so I think there's a direct correlation of what we want to do. We want the fans to kind of enjoy the student athletes just playing free basketball, having fun, and putting pressure on our opponent's transition defense. And so we did that. We led the Sun Belt in scoring. Yeah. We led the league in steals. And so those categories of when I talk about building this culture, you're now starting to see that.
Having somebody like Taryn back for a third year after winning Freshman of the Year 2 years ago, 6th Women of the Year last year, 15.7 rebounds. She was top 10 in the league in scoring and rebounding, also 2 steals per game. How is she taking that next step?
Taryn has grown up exponentially over just the course of a summer. And so we talked about her being on the scout report before is going to be totally different this year because everyone understands what she can do. So she worked a lot on her counter moves. She worked a lot on just watching film. But the thing I'm most pleased with, I guess, to see is just her as a person. I think she's becoming a better teammate. Yeah. I think she's understanding the we over me mindset, and it's making her that much better. And so I think that's going to be a harder version for teams to guard when she's utilizing her teammates as well.
What do you think she learned about taking part in the first ever media day?
That was pretty tough. We had some media training before that, but it never really is quite like the same when you have the lights and the cameras and the microphone in front of you. We went from her one-word answers to maybe 3 or 4 word
That's progress,
sentences. It's progress, but I told her, the people are going to want to talk to, one of our better players, and so I think it was eye-opening for her. I thought the Sun Belt did a phenomenal job with bringing women's basketball and men's basketball to New Orleans. And I think Taryn, felt important. I think she felt appreciated, and I think she knows she has a lot to work on when the lights come on.
Adding 4 new teams to the league this year, I know that James Madison's got a really good program. Old Dominion is a former national championship program. But seeing how the league changes with those 4 squads, how does it give you even more of a reason to improve after last year's 18 wins?
Yeah, well, at first I was like, golly, we was just getting the hang of this thing. But, to be the best, you got to compete against the best. And so when the Sun Belt expanded and they brought those 4 teams in, and on the women's side, they're strong. If you look at the standings, the preseason, just about every new team is ranked at the top of the Sun Belt on the women's side. It just lets you know our conference is growing, but we got to put that much more pressure on our young ladies to know, hey, it's not getting easier. We got to get better. We talk about 18 wins, but that was last year. We're 0-0. We have not 1 win yet. And so we challenge the returners to know, hey, you can't be, satisfied with what we did last year. There's bigger and better teams coming in. The teams that return are going to get better and recruited. And so we just got to step up our game, and I think we've seen that in the practices thus far.
We will talk about who is back, who is new, and plenty more regarding Georgia Southern women's basketball after this timeout as Hail Southern Live continues from Wild Wing Cafe here in Statesboro on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
Eagle Nation, this is William Martin from Southern Exchange Company. We're proud to always bring you the best selection of Georgia Southern gear for game day and every day. Make sure to stop by and visit us at our store across from campus on Chandler Road or online at southernexchangecompany.com. Follow Southern Exchange on social media at SXC Statesboro for the latest gear in stock. Southern Exchange Company, the official merchandiser of Georgia Southern Athletics.
Hey Eagle Nation, it's Stacy Underwood from Uncle Shug's Barbecue Place at 434 South Main Street right here in Statesboro. We're proud to be a partner of Georgia Southern football in this new era and want to wish Coach Helton luck in his first year. Remember, game day isn't complete without some Uncle Shug's favorites like our slow-cooked barbecue pork, juicy and tender beef brisket, and fall-off-the-bone smoked ribs. Add some of our made-from-scratch sides and you'll be a winner at the tailgate. Place an order online at UncleShugs.com. Go Eagles!
Did you know that Yancey Rents is a Georgia-owned rental company serving Georgia since 1914? Yancey Rents has excavators, dozers, backhoe loaders, small dump trucks, water trucks, concrete saws, light towers, scissor lifts, and so much more. We've got a huge selection of equipment ready to be rented today. Call 844-YNC-RENT or check us out at yanceyrents.com. With 16 locations around the state and a new expanded lineup of equipment ready to be rented right now, Yancey Rents wants to be your preferred rental supplier in Georgia.
You choose the combination, and they'll cook it in their 500-degree brick oven in just a few minutes. Your own delicious pizza experience using only the freshest ingredients on hand-tossed dough and individually sized just for you. And that Eagle Nation is why they're called Your Pie, because it's all about you. The Your Pie in Statesboro and downtown Savannah is owned and operated by Joe Hunt, a Georgia Southern grad. So when you order your next pizza, be true blue and make it all about you. Go see Joe at Your Pie, and I guarantee it, you'll be glad you did.
University Store is built for game day. As the official store of Georgia Southern University, we have the largest selection of officially licensed hats, polos, tees, tanks, tumblers, signs, bobbleheads, and more. Every Eagle, young and old, can find their favorite Georgia Southern merchandise at our Armstrong and Statesboro campus stores. As part of the university, we support student success by investing our profits back into scholarships, facility improvements, and programs on each campus. Visit our stores today or shop 24/7 at gsustore.com.
You trained for this all year. Endless hours of cardio, conditioning, and weights. And now you are ready. Ready to trek back to your seat from the concession stand. Through the lines, lost fans, and that mascot who wants you to do a little dancey dance, all without spilling a drop of your ice-cold Bud Light. Welcome back to football, sports fans.
Powered by Learfield, this is the Georgia Southern Sports Network. Welcome back to Hail Southern Live, presented by Morris Bank.
Legs up, Eagle Nation! Touchdown, Georgia Southern!
Make sure to tweet your questions to @GS Sports Network. Now let's return live from Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro. Once again, here's the voice of the Eagles, Danny Reed.
Morris Bank is the presenting sponsor for the 2022 season. Morris Bank is rooted in Eagle Nation, and most of the leadership team are Georgia Southern alumni. Bleed Blue, Bank Blue, Morris Bank member FDIC. Another segment talking Georgia Southern women's basketball from Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro. This is Hail Southern Live on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield. Men's basketball head coach Brian Burg will join us in our final two segments. Women's basketball head coach Anita Howard for another segment. We talked a little bit about Taryn Ward already, former freshman of the year, former sixth woman of the year. But a couple of other performers that are back, two that are going to be involved with leadership this year. Taya Gibson had 19 against Georgia State in the tournament last year, a career high. Janiah Love Hill back to her on the point. She was 7th in the league in assists. How would you compare them and what they bring to your team?
Yes, it's funny. We were calling Taya Tournament Taya this summer, and so she said she wanted to change it to Everyday Tay.
Okay.
So we're going to get that tournament version of her every day. But the team voted her as a captain. I think she's done a phenomenal job of not just leading on the court, but off the court. She's a part of SAC. She's just allowed her voice to kind of lead us in a different direction. You know, she wants to win. She's going to be loud and proud about it. She wants to win. She holds her teammates accountable, and you're going to see that in her play. Janiah, she's a little bit different. She's the silent assassin a little bit. She's who we call the brain. She's the cerebral part of our program where she's the calming factor, as her teammates like to call her. And so they have two different styles of leadership, but I think they work really well with our team and our program. And to have both of them back, and it's funny, I was talking to my husband, and I was like, Janiah is the first player that I've recruited out of high school and got to see her matriculate all the way to a senior, because usually I'm moving jobs or people are transferring.
That's right.
And so to see her go from this freshman in a knee brace after an ACL to
That's
this
right.
dominant point guard in the Sun Belt, the littlest engine that could. It's really it's a proud mama moment for me.
Also, Eden Johnson's back, Simone James, Lydia Freeman, and the benefit of getting Shondell Vickers back after she played in 2020. That's a huge bonus.
Yeah, I think, those names, Lydia Freeman, that's our 6'5" post in the paint where she's super dominant. She's working on her agility and her movement, and so we're excited about her play. Simone, fastest thing. She runs talk about pace of play. We definitely love Simone, and she's gotten stronger with our strength coach. Justin she's put on some strength, and so now she's going to be rebounding lights out. And Eden is Miss Dependable. She stacks the stat sheet. Try to say that 5 times. And she does every little thing. And so she's not a big loud player as far as her presence, but everything she does is almost like the glue. And then, of course, Shondell Vickers. She was one of our leading rebounders, a top scorer for us before she left the program. But to have her back, her mindset is different. I know the Sun Belt is not excited to see her back, but we're definitely excited to see her back.
All right, tell us about some of your new players this year.
Yeah, so we got a lot of new faces to the team. I think the staff done a great job. Shout out to my staff who's here tonight. I'm only as good as them, and so they did a great job of bringing in players to fit the pieces that graduated and left, but the pieces we needed. We brought in some post play in Diamond Stokes, a transfer from Wright State, and Shy Booker, a grad transfer from Austin P. They bring playing experience, tournament experience, winning experience to the roster. Then we got some guards that are going to work well in our system. So we got, I call her A1, but Adriana Rister, she's transferred from Providence. She's just a little bit taller than I Love Hill, but just as fast. And so she's a spark for us in transition. And then we got a grad transfer from down the street, hometown kind of gal, Leandria Gillis, lights out shooter. Savannah State, if you're familiar with their team, she's coming from winning. They had a phenomenal season last year. And so we brought in some players that not only bring veteran experience, but playing and tournament experience as well.
You open at home November the 7th against Allen, then you're on the road for 3 weeks, but then 6 of your next 7 are at home, and that includes the start of conference play December the 29th against Texas State, and then New Year's Eve against Arkansas State. There's no more travel partners with the 7 and 7, so these weekends are going to have some different combinations of teams. But how are you going to use those first few weeks of the season to find out what kind of team you have?
Yeah, so, one of the things I thought we needed to fix from our last year, we talk about winning 18 games, but we didn't do well on the road. And so I want us to be tested on the road. And so we are going to take our team out on the road. We're going to kind of do our own little road tour, if you will, to see if we can play different styles of play on the road. Joining the conference, the new teams, I'm not sure what we'll see. And so in our non-conference, I want to see different styles of play, whether they're offense-minded, defensive-minded. And so I think we've done a great job of kind of just putting different styles of play on the road onto our schedule.
18-10 last year, 8-6 in conference play. Again, the best season for Georgia Southern women's basketball since 2009. Also 9-3 in the non-conference. That was the best in more than 30 years. We'll see what this veteran team can do with a lot of new blood mixed in. They'll start in November the 7th at Hanner Fieldhouse against Allen. You can get your tickets now, 1-800-GSU-WINS, or you can go online to gseagles.com/tickets. Best dressed coach in the Sun Belt Conference, whether it's Halloween or not. Anita Howard, women's basketball, thank you so much. We'll talk to you very soon.
Thanks for having me.
Men's basketball head coach Brian Burg comes up after the timeout from Wild Wing Cafe. This is Hail Southern Live on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
Here's to the fans who show up for the game, finding their spot, staking their claim, towing the trailers, hauling the gear. A tradition of tailgating that happens each year. And here's to the truck they drive, the Ford F-150 truck. Power your tailgate like never before with an available ProPower onboard generator. For great offers, see your local Ford dealer today. Not all models, trims, or features may be available. Contact your dealer for more information.
At Optum Medical Center Tatnall, we know you're not yourself when even just one part of you is hurt. Optum Medical Center Tatnall in Reedsville provides Eagle Nation with the highest quality care in surgical, hospital, clinical, diagnostic, and therapeutic services. The physician-owned medical center has been named one of America's top 100 best hospitals for joint replacement and is a 5-star recipient for total hip replacement, total knee replacement, and spinal fusion surgery. For more information, visit OptumHealthSystem.com.
You trained for this all year. Endless hours of cardio, conditioning, and weights. And now you are ready. Ready to trek back to your seat from the concession stand. Through the lines, lost fans, and that mascot who wants you to do a little dancey dance. All without spilling a drop of your ice-cold Bud Light. Welcome back to football, sports fans.
At Tidewater Equipment Company in Brooklyn, we understand how important every hour is when you're farming. We have an exceptional parts and service department, an extensive used equipment inventory, and we are exclusive distributors of Case IH tractors, planters, sprayers, combines, and more. We're here for everything you need when it comes to agriculture. Visit Tidewater in Brooklyn or online at TidewaterEquip.com, your premier Case IH tractor dealer. To those who work in acres, not ours, we thank you.
You need the best players. You need to keep them safe. And if they do get injured, you need the best occupational medicine services available to make sure that they're back in the game for you and your business. This is Leonard Bevel from Macon Occupational Medicine, and that's exactly what we've been doing for business and industries throughout Georgia since 1990. We outperform others by getting injured workers back to work quicker while maintaining the highest levels of customer satisfaction. The health of your business may depend on us. We're Macon Occupational Medicine.
College sports fans now have access to hundreds of weekly podcasts that zero in on the college sports world. Now available in the Varsity Podcast Network and part of the new Varsity app. The app is free and available from wherever you get your favorite apps. Download the Varsity app today to have access to hundreds of national podcasts as well as your favorite team-focused podcasts. The Varsity Podcast Network, now available for free on the Varsity app. Download from the App Store and listen today.
Eagle Nation, are you ready?
Saversoff reverse layup goes, and the foul. He cuts over the baseline. He dunked it right on top of Talbot. Oh, come on, Kamari. Don't hurt him.
Eagles basketball returns Tuesday, November 8th at San Jose State.
It's a run out for Archie. Here he comes. Two-handed dunk. Oh, what a moment. This place explodes.
Hail Southern all season long on the Georgia Southern Sports Network.
Woo! Got my nachos, got my big TV, and my favorite chair. It's game time. But you know, the only thing that would make it a little better is if I could listen to my local broadcasters while watching the game.
Hello. You must have wished for your game to be synced with TV and radio.
I sure did.
Do you have a DVR?
You bet.
Do you have a streaming device?
Yeah.
Blammo! Your game is now synced. It's that easy.
Oh, boy.
To see if you can get synced, head to syncmygame.com from Learfield.
Syncmygame.com?
Syncmygame.com.
Saversoff right corner turns down the three. He's only taken one three-point attempt out of 12 field goal tries because he wants this better shot. Curry gives it to him, and that's why you be unselfish. The assist to Carlos Curry means Saversoff is 11 for 13, 22 points, 70-28, blue and white. Back from Wild Wing Cafe for this week's edition of Hail Southern Live on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield. Thanks so much to Jared Benko and Anita Howard for joining us thus far. Talking Georgia Southern men's basketball, the journey begins for this bunch on November the 8th. They'll be out in California, their first two contests at San Jose State on November the 8th, and then November the 10th, 2 days later on Thursday. That's at Santa Clara. Both of those are 10 o'clock tips to christen the 2022 campaign. If you have any questions, Stud, you can submit those on Twitter at GS Sports Network or on Facebook Live in the comments section below. Eagle Nation, please welcome in entering year 3, men's basketball head coach Brian Burg to Hail Southern Live.
Glad to be here, Danny.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, I forgot my costume. I was spending a little time with the Delta Chi fraternity, so.
Okay.
I wish I had my costume on like Coach Howard. It was unbelievable.
See, I figured that Jared was an athletic director, Anita shows up as the scarecrow, and you're just you're a basketball coach, I guess.
You got it.
You like the blazer, though, sometimes. You pulled the blazer back out when everybody was going polos and sneakers the last couple of years.
It'll come back out this year, too, Danny.
So what was it like over at the fraternity? What kind of thing you guys cover?
Oh, it was great. We talked about our season, talked about the team, and then talked about them coming out, especially Florida Gulf Coast, that November 30th date. That'll be a great matchup this upcoming season.
That is one of 16 home games you guys have this year. It's been 3 decades since Eagle men's basketball has been at home that much, and we've talked about this a couple of times before. Loading up on the road in the non-conference last year, getting the home and home allows you to have so many home games this year.
Right, a lot of games on the road last year. Those guys have to come back, play the home and home. This year at Hanner Fieldhouse, you're looking at Morehead State, Florida Gulf Coast. They're going to return the game. Wofford, Campbell. Be some great matchups in the non-conference. So excited for all those guys to come back and return the game.
Not just the fact that it's 16 home games, but that could shape up to be the best non-conference home slate that Eagle men's basketball has ever had.
I think it's a great slate, of games. 16 at home. That'll allow you to be prepared going into conference play. But you start off the season, you're going to end up playing San Jose State and Santa Clara. That'll be a great road trip. Come home, play a home game. And it's a quick turnaround. You realize we're flying from California. We fly all day Friday. We play a game on Saturday. A lot of people might ask, why are you doing that? That's preparation for Sunbelt travel this year.
Sure.
We'll play 1 week where we go and play at Marshall and then travel all day on Friday and then have to turn around and play Southern Miss on Saturday. So thought it was great preparation going into the season.
it's one thing to have to travel to the other coast to play 2 games to start the season out in the state of California, but the fact that San Jose State and Santa Clara are just a couple of miles apart and you don't have to change hotels, that's a huge plus.
I think so. You get a chance to prepare. You don't have to travel as much distance-wise because you're staying in the same hotel. Allows you to be able to prep for both teams. It's a little bit more convenient. So I'm excited about playing 2 really good coaches, too. Tim Miles at San Jose State and Herb Sendek with Santa Clara.
This is year 3, but in a lot of ways this has to feel like year 1 because this is probably the first time that things have been normal since you took over back in April of 2020.
It's been an enjoyable spring, summer, and then going into this fall. You know, having so many returners. You have a lot of third-year players in the program. The consistency has been at an all-time high. Extremely excited also about our spring recruiting class. Feel like we hit a home run on all 4 guys that have come in, and they're going to be able to make an impact immediately.
We'll get to those newcomers in just a moment, but to have 9 returners, guys like Hayden Archie, Kamari Brown, Andre Savrasov, Carlos Curry, Derek Harris, Johnny McFadden comes back off of injury, Cam Bryan will be in the mix as well. To have so much back in an era of college basketball and college athletics where the transfer portal was so prevalent, how valuable is that for your culture?
Well, pre-COVID, you always wanted to be old. You always wanted to have great experience and be old. You know, I think the transition now is you not only want to be old, you also want to have continuity on your roster. And having 9 returners as well as a quality recruiting class, I'm excited about this group.
You brought up a stat to me a while ago that I didn't think about, but of the 50 top scorers in the Sun Belt Conference from last year, 16 are back this year. You have 4 of them. So to have that kind of scoring punch that you have in terms of known commodities, that's a plus 2.
Right, the previous season was 32, and then this upcoming season is 16. So there's a lot of turnover in the Sun Belt Conference. A lot of good players have transferred in. A lot of also high-level freshmen are joining the league. But I'll say this countless times. It's great coaches, it's really good players, and it's good programs. It's one of the top leagues in the country.
The same thing we talked about with Anita when you add in 4 new programs, but in the case on the men's side, James Madison 2 years ago won the Colonial. You've got Marshall and Old Dominion, both who average well over 5,000 fans per game. They're going to be the top 2 in the league in attendance, 2 of the bigger budgets in the league, and a Southern Miss program that has a couple of familiar faces, getting 2 Mercer transfers, and Felipe Haase and Neftali Alvarez when Georgia Southern visits them at the end of February. But how do those 4 teams change the overall complexion of this league?
Oh, it elevates the league. You know, we had a chance to scrimmage Citadel this past week, and Coach Conroy talked about how much of a quality league the Sun Belt has turned into from a basketball standpoint. It's right there at the Conference USA level and maybe a hair under the American League, but probably doesn't get enough credit nationally. But quality coaches across the board, especially with those 4 programs that are joining the league.
When you have closed-door scrimmages like that, how much are you able to discover about your team before the ball rolls out live?
Well, before you're going through your entire preseason and you're trying to develop habits, you're trying to develop some chemistry. Getting a chance to go to a closed-door scrimmage, you can play more than 40 minutes, which we did, and then you have an opportunity to see different lineups. You take that film, you're able to work it from one scrimmage to the next, and it allows you to be able to grow as a team.
Back-to-back 13-win seasons, but for a team that had a chance to experience something new, everybody had a chance to experience something new because Media Day had never been done for men's and women's basketball. We talked about that with Coach Howard. You had a chance to take new point guard Jalen Finch down. We'll cover him in greater detail a little bit later on, but how would you describe the event for men's basketball?
It was first class. Commissioner Gill put on a great Media Day. I was glad to be able to go down there with Jalen Finch. I think one of the highlights going down to New Orleans is we tried to get Coach Howard to eat a raw oyster. Jalen Finch did not like a raw oyster, but tried one, as well as Taryn Ward. So we tried to go by Acme Oyster House. We ended up going to another spot, but it was a quality event. It was a great event. It was great publicity for not only our program, but for the entire league.
Are you a raw oyster guy?
I had a dozen myself.
Is that a standard thing, or is that one that you just wanted to try first time?
Oh, my dad grew up in New Orleans, so I've been eating Cajun food since I could walk.
Do they have a lot of oysters on the Frio River? Or?
No Frio River oysters, but heading over to New Orleans. Anytime I can get some boudin or I can get some etouffee, I'm going to eat some Cajun food.
I didn't know that you were such a New Orleans foodie. This is new stuff. I didn't know this about you.
Learn something new every day, Danny.
We will talk plenty more men's basketball after this timeout with men's basketball head coach Brian Burg. We do remind Eagle Nation that Savannah Hilton Head International Airport and the Savannah Airport Commission proudly sponsor Georgia Southern Athletics. You can visit them online at any time, flysav.com, before your next trip. About 10 minutes left on this week's edition of Hail Southern Live. We'll cover that and more with men's basketball head coach Brian Burg. This is Hail Southern Live from Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
Is slow internet slowing you down? Having trouble connecting to all your technology needs? Bullock Solutions has the solution for you. With a 100% fiber optic high-speed network, Bullock Solutions provides modern services with the latest technologies available in the industry. Need security options for your new home? Bullock Solutions has got you covered with state-of-the-art video surveillance and smart technology to give you the peace of mind you deserve. Bullock Solutions has internet and technology packages to meet every need. Visit us at bullock.solutions today.
Nothing kicks off your game better than a handful of Georgia peanuts. Power packed with protein, essential nutrients, and great taste. Georgia peanuts are the MVP for affordability, sustainability, and nutrition. To score life's touchdowns with recipes and fun facts, check out GAPeanuts.com. The perfectly powerful peanut is brought to you by the family farmers of the Georgia Peanut Commission.
Peanuts! Get your peanuts!
You understand that it's not just grand gestures that can change someone's life. It's consistency, doing the same thing every day for a long, long time. At Georgia Southern, we believe it's you, our annual giving donors, doing more than just impacting the bottom line. You're impacting students filled with big dreams and the desire to change the world. Our mission is to make them ready to make those dreams real, and your gift makes it possible. Because of you, they are ready. Visit georgiasouthern.edu/give to make a difference.
For many years, you've heard that Knox knocks them out. Well, that's because it's true. The Knox family has been serving yours for over 85 years. Just like the Eagles on the field, the Knox experts respond with speed. In addition to their soonest possible same or next day service, your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed with pest, termite, mosquito, wildlife, and bed bug control. To learn more about how Knox knocks them out, head over to knoxpest.com or call 877-KNOX-PEST.
You need the best players. You need to keep them safe. And if they do get injured, you need the best occupational medicine services available to make sure that they're back in the game for you and your business. This is Leonard Bevel from Macon Occupational Medicine, and that's exactly what we've been doing for business and industries throughout Georgia since 1990. We outperform others by getting injured workers back to work quicker while maintaining the highest levels of customer satisfaction. The health of your business may depend on us. We're Macon Occupational Medicine.
Talent inspired. Hi, this is Terry Harvin, and I firmly believe that those are two words that should describe your company's starting lineup of employees. If they don't, then you need to reach out to my friends at Select Source Staffing. Talent inspired since 1997, Select Source is owned by a proud Georgia Southern grad. They're solution-minded and truly understand that no two companies and no two employees are the same. So whether you're looking to hire someone or you're searching for a new opportunity for yourself, explore Select Source and check out their postings at selectsource.com.
Powered by Learfield, this is the Georgia Southern Sports Network. Welcome back to Hail Southern Live, presented by Morris Bank.
Legs up, Eagle Nation! Touchdown, Georgia Southern!
Make sure to tweet your questions to @GS Sports Network. Now let's return live from Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro. Once again, here's the voice of the Eagles, Danny Reed.
Just a few minutes left on this week's edition of Hail Southern Live from Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield, brought to you each week by Morris Bank. Coming up this weekend, we know that Georgia Southern football is on the bye, but volleyball has an important series of matchups against James Madison for first place in the East Division. Dig Pink weekend at Hanner Fieldhouse, 6 o'clock on Friday, Saturday at noon. Head coach Chad Willis will join us on 94.9 East Georgia's morning show on Thursday, 8 to 9 a.m. to preview the weekend against the Dukes. Also, Rifle is at home on Saturday against VMI. That starts 8 a.m. over at the Shooting Sports Education Center. And, of course, for men's and women's basketball season tickets, you can call 1-800-GSU-WINS at any time leading up to the opener on November the 7th and November the 8th, or go online, gseagles.com/tickets. I asked Jared this, talked to Anita about this. I'm going to try this on you. What is your favorite Halloween costume of all time?
Superman, hands down. Age of 6, I had a Superman costume. I wore it other days than just Halloween.
how many other days?
I'm not going to disclose that information.
All right, worst Halloween costume.
Ghostbusters?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Were you Stay Puft or were you one of the Bill Murray or Dan Aykroyd?
Well, I had the backpack with
Okay.
and it fell apart in the middle of trick-or-treating. So
That's the worst. All right, you talked about your returners already, but this is a really nice recruiting class. 1 freshman, 3 transfers. Fill us in on the 4 newbies.
It's been a great off-season. Danny, back in August, I was able to get married to my beautiful wife, Reese, who's here tonight. And then we were able to put together a great recruiting class. This was the first time we were able to get into guys' homes, have them come on official visits. Start off with Jalen Finch, who went to Media Days, dynamic guard, played at Jacksonville State, went to an NCAA tournament, had 17 points versus Auburn in that NCAA tournament. But he's a pass-first point guard, also is aggressive, has the ability to score, shot a great percentage from 3. Makes everyone else better around him. Very talented left-handed guard. Then you also have Ty Strickland. Ty Strickland started off his career at Wisconsin. He ended up transferring to Temple. He's a graduate transfer. Came from a winning program at Temple. Dynamic scorer at the 2-guard spot. Also can play on the ball. Has the ability to shoot the 3 and can create his own shot and create shots for other people as well. The 3rd guard is Tyron Moore. He's a junior college transfer. Had 3 years to play. Led his team to Mobley Community College to the NJCAA National Tournament. An elite level shooter. Has the ability to shoot from the perimeter. Then last but not least is Nate Bradford, 6'8", 180 pounds. Has worked tirelessly this offseason to put on weight. He just knows how to play the game. Has the ability to shoot from the perimeter at his size, which is a great addition as a true freshman.
I want to start with Tyron because sometimes you hear about guys that they have unlimited range. In Tyron's case, it's actually true because he hit the 3/4 court shot buzzer beater to move Moberly on in the JUCO National Tournament last year. For people that are fans of SportsCenter, I believe that was a top play last year.
Yeah, it was a 70-footer. I was at the gym getting a chance to watch. I was at the arena watching it in Hutch, and it was an unbelievable play. He has a knack to just understand the game. He has the ability to make other people better, and then he can really shoot the basketball. Just understands the game of basketball, though. He played for a legendary junior college Hall of Fame coach in regards to Pat Smith.
Sure.
Louisville Player of the Year out of high school. He's got a great future here as an Eagle.
With Nate, to get somebody that has that kind of length, that kind of height, but also that skill set, and you get years to develop him, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. You look at Nate Bradford, 6'8", extremely skilled, can play the 3 and the 4, steps out to the NBA range to be able to shoot the 3. He's going to continue to work this entire season, trying to put on weight and strength, but he's made a great adjustment from the time he got here in the summer to where he is now.
Great bloodline if you're talking about Ty Strickland. Of course, his dad, Rod, was a longtime NBA player, a standout point guard, most notably with the Portland Trail Blazers, but he'll get a chance to catch up with his brother this year because Terrell plays for Mark Byington and James Madison.
Right. Ty's a great player, has the ability, extremely mature. I've been telling other people, the people that we competed against was Wall Street. He had 6-figure jobs to be able to go straight to Wall Street after he received his degree from Temple. Wanted to continue his basketball career, was highly recruited, fell in love when he came down to Statesboro, and then he's got a great chance to make a huge impact to our team this year.
When you're able to bring in somebody that has that kind of maturity, I'd also reference guys like Trey Cobbs and Grant Weatherford, graduate transfers who have come in but have just played so much basketball. What does that do for a team?
Well, you look at our roster, you have 9 guys that are in there anywhere from 3rd to 5th year of college. The experience, just like I talked about, then you also want to have the consistency piece is key. If you look at the 3 fifth-year seniors, Caden Archie, Kamari Brown, and Jalen Finch, these are their last guys. This is their last season that they're going to be able to play college basketball. They've stepped up as a leadership role this past summer. That's carried over to the fall, controlled the locker room in regards to the consistency of the way we work. And then all of a sudden you have other guys that are falling in line. It's been a great culture, and it's been a great preseason so far, going through all our practices.
I saved Jalen Finch for last because, number one, he did represent this team at Sunbelt Conference Media Day last week. But for somebody that played in the NCAA tournament last year, was under strange circumstances because Bellarmine actually won the league, but they were ineligible. So Jacksonville State ends up going. But to match up against an Auburn team that won the SEC championship, he had 17 points in that game, and Jacksonville State gave them all they could handle.
Dynamic point guard, makes everyone else better around him. Our players enjoy playing with him. The only thing I'm trying to get him to do is talk more. You know, he's a quiet guy. If he has the ability to be able to use his leadership skills by using his voice, he'll impact our team even more.
What do you notice about him on the court, though, specifically?
Literally gets the ball out of his hands and makes everyone better. He always has the ability. He's got great court vision, has the ability to hit the open man, create shots for other players. Left-handed, elite-level speed in the open court, and is a winner. You look at his background from Broughton High School and high school to Florida Southwestern and junior college to Jacksonville State. One common denominator, the guy's won everywhere he's been.
To have a program that is so dedicated to defense, I know you're off the Chris Beard, Bobby Knight treat, but to be so dedicated to defense, when you get guys into your program, how do you find them that it takes them to get used to the culture and what you call the process?
Well, I think you look at our guard play this year, we'll have the ability to play off ball screens. We'll have the ability to be able to create more offense, especially in the open court. You just demand that the guys have to defend. We got great length and athleticism. That's going to be our identity. It's not going to change there. But from an offensive standpoint, we'll have the ability to shoot the ball better from the perimeter, as well as be pretty dynamic playing off ball screens and creating shots for others.
How will that help on the rebounding?
Well, I think anytime you're able to get a quality shot and you've moved the ball, you're going to be able to crack the defense, which gives you a better chance to be able to get on the offensive glass. That's just a mentality. That's what you're going to do every single day, and that's what you're going to focus on is, hey, we're going to get to the glass. Then on the defensive end, just finishing every single possession with a two-handed rebound.
How would you classify the personality of this team, your third team?
It's the most consistent, mature team I've had. That's hands down. I give credit to our staff, Tim McAllister, Chris Shoemate, and then Glenn Cyprian, and then I got an unbelievable support staff. This has been the most consistent we've been as a staff, most consistent our players have been night in and night out. And then they show up with a workman's mentality. And I've been very proud of what they've done so far this preseason. Can't wait to tip it up against San Jose State in California.
We talked a number of times about that experience of getting a chance to coach on Monday night for a national championship when you were at Texas Tech. Tim McAllister was there, Rusty Groffel was there, Sip was there on that staff. To know what it takes to get there, how can you try to convey that to a new group each year to try to get them to that point?
Just teach them how to win. Teach them, each day having the consistency and what it takes. It's not easy. It's not going to be, you have to show up every single day, and it's extremely uncomfortable. You have to push each other. Biggest key for this group is we need to be cohesive. We need to stay together. You can't fracture in tough times. That'll be myself and our staff holding the team together. And then you also have mature individuals that have experience in college. And I'm counting on those guys to have senior leadership.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck in 15 days getting it started. We'll definitely be talking a lot more this year.
Hail Southern, Danny.
That's men's basketball head coach Brian Burg. For women's basketball head coach Anita Howard, director of athletics Jared Benko. Thanks so much, Eagle Nation, for showing up tonight here to Wild Wing Cafe. Back at it next Monday. Georgia Southern football is hosting South Alabama. Clay Held will be back. We'll preview that matchup against the Jaguars. This has been Hail Southern Live on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
Listening to Hail Southern Live, presented by Morris Bank on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield. Hail Southern Live is